So, Key, we've seen a lot of different versions of the Kansas City Chiefs, but is this the scariest version of them all?
I got to think so, because it's so unpredictable. You don't know what you're getting. One week you might get 20-something, then you might get in the teens, and then you might get in the high 20s. You just don't know what you're going to get if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You have no idea, and unpredictability is scary. Think about that. When you don't know what you're getting ready to go up against. And people, it's like human beings, man, they like roller coasters. They change their mind. It's like, I don't really want to deal with that person because I don't know what is going to come out of this. And that's the same thing that when I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know what I'm getting from this football team. I know they're going to be good, right? But how good?
They're giving very Gemini energy.
Who's Gemini?
They're just very.
You know, you might be a Gemini. He might be. I might say I don't know. But yes,
I need consistency.
Yes,
it is. It's hard to deal with an unpredictable.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and that's scary, right? It's just scary. You don't know.
And they're the team of destiny, right?
Yeah.
They're headed for history. They're headed for 3 straight. They're very familiar with being here. They, as usual, the stars start starring when it matters most, and they figure things out. They win these close games, or they blow teams out. They can do it many different ways. But is this the scariest version of the Chiefs?
Yeah, I have to say, and usually in a situation like this, when a team has won multiple championships versus a team that hasn't won one, you would say Philadelphia is more scary because they're more hungry. But when you look at the Chiefs, they're chasing destiny. They're chasing history. I mean, if they win this championship in three-peat, there's going to be a lot of uncomfortable conversations about one of the greatest teams ever. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable conversation. Is Mahomes the best quarterback?
Why is it uncomfortable?
Ever. Because there's still people out there, and I'm one of them that still, even if they win, that's going to say Brady's still at the top. You know, and I'm still one of them that's going to have some arguments for some of the all-time great teams at the top. So this is a scary part of it because they're motivated. Because when you're motivated to not only win a championship, but they understand how historic this can be. And that's what's going to make the Chiefs scary.
This team kind of reminds me of the Patriots in their undefeated season, where they just had this.
Oh, man.
No, but that undefeated season, they was blowing people out the water. They was deliberately trying to just do something to
embarrass people. Yeah. But the aura around them, the history, us leaning into, okay, if they do this, they're going to be in a whole different category. They're already dominating people, but now they're going to be in a whole different category. It's not bad enough that we beat you. We beat you in historic fashion. We beat you in an undefeated season. We beat you in a three-peat. That means we do things that no other great teams can do. And you know, there obviously is already the villain story that's being built around this team, although I don't buy into that at all. But, you know, people feel like they're getting calls and things are going their way, and that can be something that gets into people's heads as well when you're going up against teams that have this legendary aura about them already. But let's talk about Saquon's potential impact on this game. The Eagles made the move to bring in Saquon after a one-and-done playoff run last season. 2 years ago, Philly was unable to top Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Despite a big performance from Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders was the Eagles' primary back in that Super Bowl, but Hurts led the team in rushing yards. So, Paul, will Saquon be the difference maker in this Super Bowl rematch?
I think it's going to have to be, Joy. I mean, his impact is undeniable. When you look in the 3 games, he's rushed for 442 yards, 5 TDs, 6.7 average. Stars got to be stars in these moments. I mean, at this point, the best versus the best, the stars got a star. It's the biggest stage they're ever going to play on. And this is where you show who you really are. And Saquon has shown that all season long, and every time you think he can't do it again, he just keeps doing it. And so I truly believe for them to win, he's going to have 150-plus yards, and he's been doing it all year long. So he just has to and the thing about it, you know what the hard part about Saquon doing it? You scout for this every week. So you prepare to stop Saquon every week. Every week, every defensive coordinator is coming here and saying, this is what we got to do to stop him. This is what we got to do to stop him. But they haven't been able to do it, and that's what makes him great, because every night that he's stepped out there knowing that the game plan defensively is designed to stop him, he delivers. And so I believe he has to be a difference maker once again versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who are in the middle of a dynasty.
You know, he's going to be a difference maker, but not the way you think. So when I look at it and I'm saying, okay, he's averaging about 150 yards a game right now in the postseason. 5 TDs, Paul talked about it. But what Spags is going to do is he's going to load the box to try to slow him down. So that makes a difference. That's where he becomes a difference maker at. I don't think it's going to be rushing the football for 150-plus yards in the game. I don't think it's going to be that. I just don't think it's going to be that way against Kansas City. But what it will do, it will allow for Jalen Hurts to get a cleaner look, pre-snap read at everything that's going on from the defensive standpoint in Kansas City, because when he steps underneath the center, he now can look. As they motion somebody out, he now can see a guy walking out. He can determine, okay, as a man is zone, it'll be a much easier read for him than maybe some other games because of Saquon Barkley in the backfield and what Kansas City knows that they have to do to try to slow him down. So I guess you could say that's the difference making that he brings to the table. Not the yards. Not the yards. I'm talking about his presence.
So you don't think he's going to have a very high yardage game?
I just don't. They're gonna do what most good defensive coordinators try to do, put it all on a quarterback that they keep hearing about from you negative people out there that continues to say that the quarterback can't get it done.
But also, difference maker doesn't have to mean he has to go for 150.
That's what I said.
Yeah, and you're right about that.
That's what I said.
The difference maker, I believe he has to impact the game on winning, meaning like he might make that big run or that first down that they absolutely need in a crucial moment. You know, he can have a game where he only rushed for 66 yards, but he had that big 10-yard run where it puts him over the top to where it's showing like, hey, he made a difference in this.
I think he's going to be doing what he's been doing all season long. Everyone has lined up and prepared to stop him, and nobody has. I think the key to this game is going to be Philly not making any mistakes and giving the Chiefs extra possessions. But the Chiefs' rush defense since Christmas is allowing 164 rushing yards per game. They allowed 202 rushing yards against the Steelers in Week 17, 158 against the Broncos, 149 against the Texans, and 147 against the Bills. They have the 8th rushing defense this season. Everybody prepares to stop Saquon, and everybody gets run over by Saquon. So I think Saquon will add the element that you mentioned, that because they are going to prepare for him, it may open things up for Jalen Hurts, and they may be able to take advantage of it in the way that they did against the Commanders. But I think Saquon is still going to have a very big day. That's not to say that Kansas City is not going to win the game, but everyone has tried to stop Saquon this year, and nobody has been able to do it because he's just having that kind of a season.
He is having his way, no question about it, and particularly in the postseason, something that, this is his second postseason, one with the Giants when they beat up on Minnesota, but this is a different Saquon Barkley, different team in Philadelphia. I do believe that he will have an impact. I just don't think it's going to be that 150-plus that we've been accustomed to seeing him.
You think he'll lead the team in rushing?
Yeah, I do.
He has to be.
Because Jalen led the team in rushing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he'll lead the team in rushing, but is that 105 yards? Is that 90 yards to Jalen, 60 yards?
For them to win, he has to be the MVP. It has to be no question. For them to win,
I don't think so.
I think he's going to have an MVP performance.
I don't think he has to be the MVP. The quarterback has to be the MVP for them to win.
Well, he hasn't been the MVP all year long. Saquon has been their best player all year long.
Yeah, he's their best player.
He's been their most impactful player all year long.
Jalen has the ability.
If he's running the ball well, that means that they're keeping the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands.
Well, that could be true, too. But you could have a short passing game. You don't have to run the football. I just think that what they want to do in Kansas City is play some man-to-man across the board with those receivers, load up the box, and make Jalen Hurts beat him, something that people are going into this game saying that he does not have the ability to do.
I think he does.
I think he does. Spags, he may think so, but he wants to. I think he's going to want to challenge him to show us that you can. Even though 2 years ago, You could have been the MVP if it wasn't for a costly turnover.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think the key to this game is them not giving the Chiefs extra possessions. And I feel the same way about this game that I did about the Bills game, which is the Eagles are capable of beating the Chiefs, but they have to beat them convincingly. If this is a tight game, the Chiefs are going to figure out a way to win it. That's just what they've been doing all season long. They have that magic. They have that thing that you're not going to be in a close game with them at the end of the game. And God forbid Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hands to end the game. It's over for you. So they need to beat them convincingly. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.